Scientists once believed that only billion-dollar fertilizers could feed the growing world. They poured money into giant factories, producing chemical mixtures that promised miracles. But in a quiet corner of science, researchers stumbled on something that shook their confidence to the core. It wasn't a discovery made in a lab packed with expensive machines. It was hidden inside your kitchen trash. Yes, the banana peel you threw away, the coffee you drank this morning, the rice water you poured down the sink, those could hold the power to outperform the fertilizer industry. By the end of this story, you'll understand 10 shocking secrets that are simple, natural, and backed by science, and you'll see why billion-dollar corporations are desperate for you not to know them. Imagine this: your kitchen waste, the stuff you think has no value, could transform into a food blazer so powerful that farmers no longer need to bow down to chemical giants. Let's open the door to these hidden truths and start with the most surprising one. The first secret comes from a humble plant you've seen countless times: alfalfa, also known as lucerne. Farmers often grow it as animal feed, but what most people don't know is that this green plant hides an invisible army beneath the soil. Its roots host special bacteria called rhizobia, tiny organisms that pull nitrogen straight from the air and inject it into the soil. Nitrogen is the lifeblood of plants. It fuels lush green growth, strong stems, and healthy leaves. Without it, crops wither and fail. Chemical companies know this better than anyone. That's why nitrogen fertilizers are a multi-billion-dollar business. They take natural gas, process it in energy-hungry factories, and sell it as ammonium nitrate or urea. But nature has been doing the same job for free, quietly, for millions of years. When alfalfa grows, its partnership with rhizobia enriches the soil more effectively than many chemical fertilizers. And here's the twist that corporations hate: when you add leftover alfalfa clippings or even sprouted lentils from your kitchen waste into compost, you activate the same process. It's like unlocking a natural nitrogen pump hidden in your trash. Farmers who discovered this were stunned. One small-scale grower decided to plow alfalfa back into his soil instead of buying fertilizer that season. Neighbors mocked him, believing he would lose his harvest. But when the crops sprouted, they grew taller, greener, and healthier than those of anyone else around him. What shocked them most was that he spent almost nothing, while others handed over thousands to fertilizer dealers. This is why the industry doesn't want you to know. If people realize that kitchen scraps and simple plants like alfalfa can provide the same nutrients, the entire $70 billion nitrogen market could collapse overnight. That's the real conspiracy. Science already proved the solution, but profits keep it hidden. And this is only the beginning. Because alfalfa is just the first of 10 secrets buried in your kitchen waste. They thought fire was only destruction. But deep in the Amazon rainforest, archaeologists discovered something extraordinary: soils darker and richer than anything found nearby, capable of producing crops for centuries. The secret wasn't chemicals or industry. It was carbon, locked inside what we now call biochar. Imagine this: you take kitchen scraps, fruit peels, vegetable stems, even paper waste, and instead of letting them rot, you heat them in low oxygen. The result is a black, porous material that acts like a battery for the soil. Every nutrient gets trapped inside its tiny pores, released slowly, feeding plants for decades. Modern science has confirmed what ancient civilizations already knew. Biochar doesn't just fertilize, it transforms soil itself. It holds water in dry climates, prevents nutrients from washing away in floods, and even reduces carbon dioxide in the atmosphere. Yet, this knowledge is often buried in academic papers, never reaching the average farmer. Why? Because if you could make your own soil supercharger from trash, the multi-billion-dollar fertilizer industry would crumble. Big companies rely on selling you bag after bag, season after season. Biochar only needs to be made once, and it lasts for generations. That's why this secret, although proven, is rarely shouted from the rooftops. Now imagine your morning ritual. You wake up, brew a steaming cup of coffee, sip its warmth, and toss the grounds into the bin. But what if I told you that dark residue is more powerful than it looks? Coffee grounds are loaded with nitrogen, one of the 3 essential nutrients plants crave. Spread them around your garden, and you've just added a free, slow-release fertilizer. But that's not all. Coffee grounds act as a natural pesticide, repelling ants, slugs, and snails without toxic chemicals. They improve soil structure, helping roots breathe and water flow better. This tiny daily ritual could replace both fertilizers and pesticides, 2 markets worth billions. And that's exactly why you never see advertisements telling you to recycle your coffee grounds into your soil. Instead, companies push chemical sprays and nitrogen bags that drain your wallet. Yet the truth is simple: the waste from your morning coffee can grow stronger vegetables, greener leaves, and healthier soil. Big business would never want that secret spreading too far. And then comes one of the most underestimated treasures: eggshells. Almost every breakfast table in the world produces them, and almost every one of them is thrown away. Yet each eggshell is pure calcium carbonate, the same compound chemical companies refine and sell as calcium nitrate or lime for high prices. Plants need calcium just as humans do. Without it, stems weaken, fruits crack, and roots rot from the inside out. But when you crush eggshells into fine powder and sprinkle them into your soil, you're giving plants a natural armor. Calcium strengthens cell walls, making them more resistant to disease and stress. It balances soil acidity, unlocking nutrients that would otherwise remain trapped. Farmers who've tried it see dramatic differences: tomatoes that resist blossom end rot, peppers with firmer skins, strawberries that last longer after harvest. All from what most households throw away every single morning. And here's the conspiracy: eggshell calcium is virtually free, but packaged calcium fertilizers cost farmers millions each year. Companies rely on ignorance. They know that if people learned to save and grind their eggshells, a whole line of their products would become irrelevant overnight. So the next time you look at the scraps from your breakfast, the black remains of your coffee, the brittle shards of your eggshells, remember this: what the world throws away is often more valuable than what billion-dollar companies sell. And these are only a few of the 10 secrets waiting in your kitchen waste. Some of the world's most powerful antibiotics don't come from pharmacies or labs, they come from your kitchen bin. The dry, papery skins of onions and garlic are usually peeled off and forgotten, but science reveals they are packed with sulfur compounds and antioxidants that fight disease in plants the same way they protect human health. When mixed into compost or brewed into a natural tea, they become a shield against fungi, bacteria, and soil-borne infections. Farmers who rely on expensive fungicides could replace them with a handful of skins most families throw away daily. And that's exactly the problem. The agrochemical market for fungicides alone is worth billions. So, while you're told to discard those layers, corporations quietly cash in on selling chemical versions of what nature already gives away for free. Now let's step into a different secret, one that seems too simple to believe. You wash rice before cooking, and the cloudy water rushes down the drain. But that milky liquid is full of hidden nutrition. Rice water is loaded with minerals, starch, and beneficial microorganisms like lactobacillus. When poured into soil, it doesn't just feed plants, it transforms the underground ecosystem. It acts like probiotics for the earth, multiplying good bacteria, unlocking hidden nutrients, and even suppressing harmful pathogens. Farmers who use biofertilizers pay high prices for bottled versions of this same microbial power. Yet the truth is already swirling in your sink every time you rinse rice. No company will tell you this, because they want you dependent on their products, not empowered by your own kitchen. And then, perhaps the most famous of all, fruit peels. A banana peel is more than trash, it's a powerhouse of potassium and phosphorus, the very elements that drive flowering and fruiting in plants. Farmers buy bags of chemical potassium, often under names like potassium chloride or phosphate, without realizing they could get the same benefits naturally. Blend banana peels into a tea or dry and grind them, and you create a fertilizer that triggers stronger blooms and sweeter fruits. And citrus peels? They hold essential oils that repel insects, a natural pesticide hidden inside orange and lemon rinds. When composted, they release nitrogen and sulfur that strengthen soil life. Yet these secrets rarely reach households, because corporations know that every banana peel composted is one less bag of chemical fertilizer sold. Together, these scraps, onion skins, garlic shells, rice water, banana and citrus peels, form a hidden arsenal of plant medicine and growth. They prove that what you throw away daily is exactly what billion-dollar companies try to sell back to you in shiny packaging. And this is only the beginning, because the kitchen still hides even stranger powers that scientists once thought impossible. Sometimes the greatest power lies in what you cannot see. When old bread or forgotten grains begin to mold, most people throw them out with disgust. But in the soil, those same fungi can transform into something miraculous. Scientists call them mycorrhizal fungi, tiny threads that wrap around plant roots like a hidden network. They act as underground internet cables, carrying nutrients and water from deep soil layers into the plant. Tests show that roots connected to these fungi absorb up to 7 times more nutrients than roots without them. Companies market this as root booster products, But nature already provides it for free. A little decomposed grain or moldy bread in your compost can awaken this secret underground army, and no bag of chemicals can match its efficiency. And then comes a discovery so new that it still shocks laboratories today. When food waste ferments, it releases tiny amounts of hydrogen gas. For years, scientists ignored this as a byproduct. But recent research shows hydrogen doesn't just disappear, it actively stimulates plant cells, reducing stress and boosting growth. Plants treated with fermented kitchen waste grow faster, resist diseases, and even survive drought longer. Imagine that, your spoiled vegetables or leftover rice, left to ferment, creating an invisible fuel that powers life itself. Companies don't advertise this because it questions the very foundations of industrial agriculture. If households learned that simple fermentation could outperform their chemical stimulants, the shelves of expensive growth enhancers would gather dust. And finally, a secret hiding in plain sight: citrus peels combined with vinegar. It sounds too simple, yet this mixture creates a natural acidic solution that works as both fertilizer and pesticide. The acids break down minerals in the soil, making them more available to plants, while the oils from citrus rinds drive away pests. One solution, two effects: feeding plants and protecting them at once. Corporations split these functions into separate bottles, charging twice, when your own trash could do the same in a single step. Now imagine this story through the eyes of one farmer. For years he followed the same path as everyone else, buying fertilizer bags stacked high in trucks, spraying pesticides that drained his savings. But one season he stopped. He began saving banana peels, brewing rice water, fermenting his scraps. He ground eggshells, spread coffee grounds, even turned his kitchen trash into biochar. His neighbors laughed. They called him foolish, said his crops would fail. But as the weeks passed, his fields grew greener, his plants taller, his fruits larger. By harvest time, he had doubled his yield while spending almost nothing. The laughter turned to silence, then to envy. He had unlocked the hidden power corporations try so hard to bury. His kitchen waste had become a weapon, a food blazer strong enough to challenge billion-dollar industries. These 10 secrets prove a shocking truth: what we call trash is actually treasure. What corporations package and sell, nature already gives us freely. And the final choice lies in your hands: will you keep feeding the cycle of chemicals and profit, or will you reclaim the hidden science waiting in your own kitchen? What if the future of farming was never locked inside billion-dollar labs or giant factories, but quietly waiting in your kitchen bin? Think about it. Every peel, every shell, every cup of coffee, every scrap you thought was worthless is actually part of a hidden code, one that nature has been writing for millions of years. A code corporations don't want you to read, because if you do, you'll see their empire for what it is: a cycle of dependency. For decades, they've told us only chemicals could save our crops. They convinced farmers that without buying bag after bag, nothing would grow. They built a $200 billion industry on fear and control. Yet the evidence is here, in front of us, simple and undeniable. Alfalfa pulling nitrogen from the air. Biochar holding nutrients for centuries. Coffee grounds turning into a shield against pests. Eggshells building stronger roots. Onion skins fighting diseases. Rice water bringing life back to soil. Banana peels feeding flowers. Citrus oils repelling insects. Fungi weaving underground networks. Fermented waste releasing hydrogen fuel for growth. 10 secrets, one truth: the real fertilizer revolution is already in your hands. Imagine the ripple effect if people everywhere embrace this. Healthier food, stronger harvests, cleaner water, richer soil, fewer chemicals in our bodies. Families could grow their own vegetables without toxic sprays. Farmers could break free from debt. Even cities drowning in waste could turn trash into abundance. This isn't a fantasy, it's a choice. A choice hidden in every piece of waste you throw away. And that's why this knowledge matters. Because the more people who understand it, the harder it becomes for corporations to bury it. Sharing this video isn't just about views or numbers, it's about spreading power. Power that belongs to ordinary people, not billion-dollar industries. So here's my challenge to you: try one of these secrets this week. Brew rice water instead of pouring it down the drain. Crush eggshells into your soil. Save your coffee grounds. Watch what happens, then tell your story. Comment below with your results, because your story might inspire someone else to break free too. And if you believe knowledge like this should remain free, if you believe the future of farming belongs to people, not corporations, then subscribe right now. Share this message. Together, we can transform waste into life, trash into treasure, and kitchens into the most powerful laboratories on Earth.